Today I'm going to be talking about the TG takeaway. It's kind of similar to the TG downswing move, and the reason is it's pretty revolutionary. It's definitely an original work, and it cannot be found in any medical textbooks. And I'm going to explain that here in a minute. It can't be found anywhere until I used it specifically, beginning with using it for golfers and myself first for the takeaway. So some of you may have already heard this. I know that Chuck Quinton of Rotary Swing, I taught it to him in 2008. And he's made a big mark in the marketplace, actually proving that it's actually a wonderful way to take the club away. It's not the only way, it's the most efficient way. So you probably heard of from Eric Kaplan as well. But besides us three, there's no one else anywhere in the world that teaches it. And let me tell you why. If you go to your medical books and the anatomy books, so let's say musculoskeletal anatomy, the definition of scapula and how they define the job of the scapula, you know, each bone and each joint has a role. The textbooks read that the scapula responds to the motion of the humerus, and that is true. And the humerus is the shoulder, the arm bone, the upper arm bone. So when that shoulder socket moves, the scapula needs to be able to move around to allow that motion to occur. So if I'm going to get my arms way up over my head, the scapula is going to have to internally rotate and elevate on my back of my rib cage in order to allow that motion to occur. So in our textbooks to date, this is never used to move the arms. It's never used as a primary mover for anything. So this shoulder blade, I discovered if you moved it but the arms were connected, you turned on your lats and you kind of glued your arms to your rib cage right here, that we could use that and glide it down no more than 2 inches. And it would move my arms and hands 3 feet. It would move my club perfectly on plane every single time. So if somebody can learn how to do it, it's not easy. It's great to talk about. It's a great way to sell people on buying your programs. I'm going to tell you, it is actually difficult to learn, and it's not something to adopt as part of what people call the golf swing. There's not really any such thing as the golf swing, because not all golfers scapula moves. I'd say 99% of them, the scapula is locked to the rib cage. Bryson DeChambeau, I guarantee his scapula is not gliding down and towards center. If anything, it would move together, but it appears on all of his videos, you can see right through his shirt, it's not moving. So from the time he sets up, he locks it, and he doesn't move from the box. He's actually his primary mover. He's right up here. The arms are locked, and then he just keeps them tight, and then he makes his move. So it's not an absolute meaning that all golfers use it. If you can learn how to do it, there is no easier way to master a confident takeaway. It's going to be on plane every single time, provided that your setup is correct. So if we're looking at the skeletal system, how many different ways do we have to take the club away? That's what we want to ask. We did this with the downswing move. That's where we start when we're talking body movement laws. You look at a skeleton. The easiest way for a golfer to do this for any mover position is to remember you have 3 joints in the arms, 3 in the legs, 3 big bones of the torso. That's it. You cannot move from any other source. So the golf swing, there is no mystery to it. There is no secret. There's no mystery, right? You're either going to be moving from here, or you're going to be moving from here, or the pelvis and the rib cage, right? And then you have the scapula. So that's 3 large bones at the torso, 3 joints in the arms, 3 in the legs. That's it. So you can go through a skeleton. You can draw a stick man and go through and X out. No, my right ankle won't make me make that move. No, this won't make me make that move. So it's not rocket science to figure out where we can and can't move from. So let's look at takeaway. Where can I move from? And then I'll tell you why the scapula glide is the best way to do it. I can put the club on plane with my wrist. I can put it on plane by bending my right over. So that I flex the right elbow to put it on plane. Right here, I gotta look in the camera. So let's do it again. Right elbow, it's on plane. Cross my left arm over my body. I can actually take the left arm, raise it up, and you'll know because that left arm is gonna come up and over your chest, and it's gonna put the club on plane there in order to keep it on plane. So I moved this, my left elbow reacted to that motion, and it flexed to get the club there. So I can make the origin of movement, my left shoulder, and I can make it my elbow. That's consciously all the different ways and joints that I can move from to put the club on plane, right? Or I can take that shoulder blade and move it down towards center. That's going to move my rib cage. I'm going to slide it. And if I do that and I master that move, it's always going to feel the same way. It's always going to go to the same place. Whenever I use arms, joints from the arms, it can be wrong every time because they're designed, my wrist can move different ways, my elbow. So it's much harder for your nervous system and your mind to body connection to try to memorize and be consistent in your takeaway if you're going to use your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist. It could possibly be different every time. And, you know, golf is a sport of precision. You know, club head's only this big and that's a tiny little ball. So if you want to minimize excess movement, I would learn how to use the shoulder blade glide. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that. So going back to the scapula glide. The scapula glide in the physical therapy world is a modality, meaning the physical therapist puts their hand on the shoulder blade and then they glide it around the rib cage and move the humerus. And what they're trying to do when they do that, if somebody has what they call scapular dyskinesia, they're trying to get the brain and the body to connect so the shoulder and the shoulder blade work together as a team. But up until I use the scapula glide, and that's for a primary mover, for torso rotation, putting the club on plane and moving the arms, and to date, a scapula glide is a modality and it's applied by somebody else. It's not something you do yourself. They put their hands and do it for you. If you can get to your physical therapist, tell them what you want to do. You can take the videos, let them put their hands on you, pay them, and have them move that shoulder blade down and towards center and over. Have them do it while you're seated, standing, and in a golf setup, and then put a club in your hand and have them do it. Let them manually do it for you. And if they do that over and over, and you can feel the lat turn on, you can connect with the feelings, you'll be able to connect with emotion, then you'll know how to do it. Until somebody really gets their hands on you, you don't really know whether you're doing it or not. And again, as wonderful as rotary swing took off, my guess is, because I've done this my whole life, that one move or the whole swing model, it worked for people because it made sense intellectually, but when you actually meet people, they're not actually doing it. They think they're doing it and they're not. So again, I'm thinking that maybe 95% of people who thought they were actually doing that weren't actually doing it at all. So that's going to be my recommendation, is find somebody who knows how to glide the scapula, let them manually put their hands on you. They're going to do it for you, have them do it over and over, and put a club in your hand. That way you know whether you're doing it or not. It is worth the time investment to actually learn how to do that correctly. Because one way or the other, you've got to use some bone or some joint to take the club away, right? Nothing is better than that TG takeaway move. Hey, thanks for watching that video, and be sure to look in the description box below for the link where you can register for a free video series, 10 videos that will teach you how to do an in-home assessment to test your own flexibility to see what is your capability to get into those coveted positions. You don't want to miss it. Description box below. And please, as always, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, pass and share the videos along, spread the word. Body movement laws is the future of golf instruction. Thanks.